Well, it's only taken me almost an hour to get here, but that's okay. I'm here. My goodness gracious me. If you're joining live, feel free to say hello in the chat below and let me know where you're listening in from. That would be really nice to know. Oh dear, oh dear. So before we begin, I want to share something personal about today. For some of you would know already that I am still currently navigating some side effects from chemotherapy on Friday. And it would have been very easy for me to have simply postponed this session. But my intuition kept me going. Gently at my own pace, fumbling, bumbling, mumbling, not mumbling, but fumbling and bumbling, certainly, showing up for the things that matter to me. And that's my community and my commitment to myself to move forward, to stay strong. So, in many ways, this conversation about intuition is not just something I'm teaching, it's something I'm actively living and experiencing. It's not just something I'm teaching, it's something I'm living. So, have you ever ignored a gut feeling and later realized it was trying to tell you something? Maybe something didn't feel right about a situation. Or perhaps you felt a quiet nudge to take a step in a new direction, even though it didn't make logical sense at the time. Most of us, I can guarantee, most of us, if not all of us, have experienced this at some point in time. But very few of us have been taught how to recognize it, to trust it, to actually use it to guide our lives. And so today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to have a conversation about this. Many women ask the question, how do I know what my purpose really is or my mission really is? And the truth is, many people don't know straight away. That was for me, when my life turned upside down, I had no idea what my purpose, what my mission was. And if you're in a season of change after a life-changing event, a loss, an illness, a divorce, or simply a moment where life forces you to pause and rethink everything, it's completely normal, absolutely completely normal to feel uncertain. Finding your direction is rarely a light bulb moment, a lightning flash. More often, it's a process of rediscovery. It's about becoming clear about what truly matters to you now. And that might be different to what truly mattered to you yesterday or prior to the situation. It's allowing a new vision of your life to slowly take shape. And maybe that can be painful too. But there are two things that become essential in that process: belief and emotional energy. And we have to begin believing, oh my gosh, we have to begin believing that a new chapter is possible for us. And at 63, when I needed a new chapter of life, that was a big challenge to believe that it was possible. That even after hardship, there is still something meaningful ahead. And we need emotional energy, the kind that comes from reconnecting with what matters deeply to us. And that energy becomes our why. It's what helps get us up in the morning. It's what takes us to our next step, even when the path is not fully clear. And of course, there will be setbacks. There will be hiccups. It's like popping into a car and going on a long journey. You're not going to get to the other end of the trip without at least one hiccup. There are going to be moments where things don't go the way you expected them to. But when we keep moving forward, even slowly, one foot in front of the other, one step after another step, something interesting happens. Bit by bit, we start to come back into alignment with who we really are. So, what's the role of intuition? This is where intuition becomes incredibly important. Intuition is that quiet inner knowing. It can be a small nudge, a feeling in your gut that something is right, or maybe not quite so right. Sometimes it shows up as a recurring thought over and over again, bashing you against the head gently, softly, like a feather. Sometimes it's a gentle whisper saying, maybe try this instead. The challenge is that intuition rarely shouts. It rarely stands on top of a building with neon lights and, shouts messages to you. It's soft. It's subtle. And I love Oprah Winfrey. It's like the zephyr of a breeze kissing you on the cheek, or the feather just passing by your cheek, and then a wind and a gale, and finally the brick. It's subtle until it's not subtle. And in a busy, stressful world, it can easily get drowned out by noise. Expectations, opinions, pressure, and simply overthinking. But when we learn to slow down and listen again, something powerful happens. We begin to reconnect with our own internal guidance. And that guidance often leads us back towards the things that truly matter, the things that bring meaning, contribution, and purpose to our lives. And the two energies we all carry, they're two different energies. One is the energy of action, which is planning, deciding, achieving, making things happen. And the other is the energy of intuition and flow, creativity, compassion, reflection, and the quiet inner guidance. For a long time, our world has celebrated primarily only the first energy level. Push harder, work more, force success. But when we rely on pushing, particularly pushing through the universe, life will feel exhausting. Life will feel out of alignment. Things will not flow. And true fulfillment tends to come when action and intuition work together. When we move forward, we also must listen. When we take steps, but we stay connected to what feels deeply right for us, that's when life begins to feel less like a struggle and more like a path unfolding before us. So everyone carries an inner compass. The question isn't whether intuition exists. The real question is, are we listening? And that is what we're going to explore today together. How to recognize intuition, how to trust it, and how it can guide us toward the next chapter of our lives. So let's have a look at our gut feeling, which is frequently associated with intuition. Interestingly, science now supports the idea that our gut feelings are more than just a metaphor. Our digestive system contains, here's some science coming up now for you. Our digestive system contains a complex network of neurons called the enteric nervous system, sometimes referred to as the body's second brain. I found that very interesting when I first came across it. This system communicates constantly with the brain through the vagus nerve, forming what researchers call the gut-brain axis. What this means is that our body is often processing information before our conscious mind catches up with it. So when we say, I had a gut feeling about that, there is actually a biological reason why that sensation exists. A gut feeling is a physical sensation or emotional signal that something feels right or wrong before we can logically explain why. It's often our nervous system recognizing patterns or signals below the surface. Now, intuition goes deeper. It's the inner knowing or quiet guidance that helps us make decisions aligned with who we really are. And you might experience this as a subtle inner voice, a strong sense of knowing, a sudden insight or idea, or a quiet feeling that keeps returning. The challenge is that intuition, as I've said before, rarely shouts from the rooftops. It whispers. And in a busy world, it can be easy to miss. I have a little story to share with you. Many years ago, I was driving my horse and horse float. It was late at night and there was not a car in sight on this lonely road. And I had to turn left at a T intersection, which was on quite a steep slope. And I had a manual, which meant, a handbrake with the horse float, etc. And yeah, I was still sort of learning how to navigate all of that. Anyway, I thought, blow it, not a car in sight. Car hasn't gone past here for ages. I've been watching. I'll just go left. And this quiet inner voice very firmly said, stop. And I thought, man, there's no cars around. Stop. Anyway, I did stop. Did my hill start? Turned left, and hiding behind the very large tree was the policeman. So that was just one funny intuitive story that really stuck with me over the years. So there have been many, many, many moments in my own life where I have had to learn to listen to that quiet guidance. Sometimes when my life changed suddenly and the path ahead certainly wasn't clear. Sometimes those changes come through things we never expected. As I said, life-changing crises, a health crisis, a relationship ending, or circumstances that simply force us to stop and rethink everything. It's in those moments that logic alone isn't enough. What begins to guide us forward is something much, much deeper. A sense that there is still a path, still meaning, still something we are here to do. And often that next step reveals itself through intuition. So today we're going to explore three things: how to recognize intuition, what blocks it, and how to begin trusting it again. Because every one of us carries this inner guidance system. The question isn't whether intuition exists. The real question is, are we listening? And if today resonates with you, I'll share an opportunity at the end for those who would like deeper guidance and support in rediscovering their direction and purpose. But for now, let's begin with understanding intuition itself. Remember, I said the question isn't whether intuition exists. The real question is, are we listening? So the three keys to reconnecting with your intuition. Step 1, recognizing intuition. The first step, obviously, is simply learning how intuition shows up for you. For most people, intuition is quiet and subtle. As I said, it rarely arrives with a crescendo of crashing cymbals and drums. It's a soft voice telling you what to do. Can appear as a gut feeling, a repeating thought or idea that just keeps coming back, a sense of calm, clarity, even when the decision feels uncertain, or a gentle nudge towards something meaningful. And as I've opened up my ability to tap into intuition, I have noticed lots of times, for example, flying off to Sydney last year, and I had the water all set up at the top of the hill, the tanks were all full, and this little voice said, go and turn the green tank on. Now, I've got 3 tanks, and 3 tanks were full. The green tank was my emergency tank, and it was just sitting there waiting. And this little voice said, it's been sitting there for 12 months. Go and turn it on. I thought, really? I've got 2 full tanks. Why? Anyway, I was to fly out Tuesday. Monday afternoon, I walk up just to check, turn the green tank on, as the voice said. And my cattle had overturned the water trough that had been happily sitting in that paddock for 30 odd years. Wow. And that was just so amazing. I mean, the problem was quickly and easily solved, fixed. But they could have been up in that paddock for 2 days without water during really, really hot weather. And yet I knew I had plenty of water. Within 24 hours, they would have emptied my 2 tanks and had no water. So it can be, despite the logic of it all, it can be just this gentle nudge. Go and do something. That was really amazing. Another way is it could be to recognize how it feels in your body. Intuition usually feels calm, steady, and clear. It certainly did for me on that day. It was just a really strong directive. Go and do this. You need to do this. Absolutely amazing. Fear and overthinking tend to feel urgent, noisy, and pressured. Intuition is just this soft, gentle, strong push. And sometimes recognizing intuition is simply asking yourself, does this feel peaceful and aligned, or pressured and forced? Well, I felt far more peaceful and aligned by going up the hill and checking on the water. Tick that box, take that stress and worry out of my head. Yeah. So I listened to my intuition. Yeah. Your body often knows the answer before your mind does. So what blocks intuition? Most people don't lose their intuition. They simply become, have you guessed it? Absolutely. Too busy or overwhelmed by fear to hear it. Overwhelmed, not necessarily by fear, but overwhelmed with the busyness of life to tune in and listen. 3 of the major blocks are overwhelm, when life becomes extremely busy or stressful, our nervous system goes into survival mode. So it pushes all those other things away to the side and just in survival mode. In that state, we focus on solving problems and managing pressure. And the quiet inner guidance system gets drowned out, goes out the window. Overthinking. Our logical mind is incredibly useful at times. But when it takes over completely, it can dismiss intuition because intuition doesn't always arrive with a logical explanation. My 3 water tanks, for example, So the mind says, that doesn't make sense. ignore it. You've got 2 full tanks. You don't need to turn the third one on, for goodness sakes. However, then there's a lack of trust. Many of us were raised to believe that other people know better than we do. My gosh, parents, teachers, experts, all the way through school, parents know better, teachers know better. And children are stifled because sometimes, children have fabulous ideas, creative ideas. So we gradually stop trusting our own inner knowing. Rebuilding intuition often means relearning how to trust yourself again, big time. So number 3, how to begin trusting intuition again. The good news is that intuition is not something we need to recreate. It's already there. We simply need to create space to hear it again. So here are 3 gentle, easy ways to start. Number 1, slow down. Moments of quiet allow intuition to surface. And I just love my quiet time first thing in the morning, listening to the birds, birds in the morning, coffee time, chilling on the front veranda, just being at peace with the world. Could be a walk in the nature for you, journaling, reflection, or simply sitting in silence can create the space where intuition becomes clear. Notice those small nudges. Intuition doesn't usually start with huge life decisions. It begins with small nudges. A push in this direction, a push forward, a thought, an idea, a direction that feels interesting or meaningful. The more we notice these small signals, the stronger that inner voice becomes. So act on those small steps. Trust trust grows through experience. And when you follow, and when you follow a small intuitive nudge and see that it leads somewhere meaningful, your confidence begins to grow, begins to blossom, begins to shoot forth into a beautiful rose. Over time, that quiet guidance becomes easier to recognize and trust. Intuition doesn't always show us the entire path. Often, it simply shows us the next step. And when we take that step, guess what? The next one becomes visible. So many of us reconnect with intuition during life-changing seasons. Why? Perhaps because that's a time when lots of things in our mind, in our being, shut down, and we are searching, we are looking. I don't know, but it did for me. It was during, the first and the second crisis, hot on the heels of each other, that intuition came forth for me. Moments when our old plans fall away and we begin asking deeper questions about who we are and what truly matters to us now in the present moment. Not what mattered to us, but what matters to us now, because we are all evolving, we are all changing. And what matters to us changes throughout time. And as I said, that was certainly true for me in my own life. I had to pause and take stock of my situations. So if today's conversation has resonated with you, if something inside you is quietly nudging you forward, then perhaps this is the moment to start listening to that voice a little more closely. And if you would like support as you reconnect with your intuition and rediscover your direction, I'd be honored, absolutely honored, to walk alongside you in that journey. Simply comment in the comments below, intuition, if you'd like to connect further. Because because that's where my technology is at the moment in time with this chemotherapy stuff. As I said, if you'd like to connect further, comment intuition below in the comment box and we will connect further. That's it. No pressure, no hard sell, just a nice quiet invitation. God bless. With heart, Margareta. Right.